Hey there, tech enthusiasts. Welcome back to the Technology Pulse. I'm Rick from DALY, and you're listening to our Tech in 10, where we break down the biggest stories in technology faster than you can say, have you tried turning it off and on again? This week, we've got a fantastic showdown for you. In one corner, we have Singapore. Yes, the entire country, going toe-to-toe with Apple and Google over scam messages. It's like watching David versus Goliath, except David has a government authority behind him, and Goliath has more money than some small nations. Spoiler alert, Singapore's not backing down. And then in our second segment, we're talking about everyone's favorite space-obsessed warehouse building billionaire, Jeff Bezos. He's back in the CEO chair, folks, this time with the mysterious AI startup called Project Prometheus that has $6 billion in funding. That's not a typo, that's billion with a B, as in, boy, I wish I had that kind of money. We're going to explore what little we know about this secretive project, why Bezos is betting big on physical AI, and whether this could be the next big thing or just another billionaire's expensive hobby. My money's on the former, but hey, I've been wrong before. Just ask anybody in my fantasy football league. So settle in, grab your beverage of choice. I am on my third coffee, by the way, but don't judge me, and let's pulse into it. All right, let's talk about Singapore, because they are not messing around when it comes to cybercrime. And honestly, I'm kind of here for it. So here's the situation. Singapore officials have ordered, and I mean ordered, not asked politely, Apple and Google to stop the spoofing of government agencies on their messaging apps. And before you ask, no, spoofing is not when you do a funny impression of your boss at the holiday party, though that can also get you in trouble. I'm speaking for a friend. Spoofing in the cybersecurity world is when cyber criminals make themselves appear as a trusted source. It's digital catfishing, basically, except instead of pretending to be a supermodel on Tinder, they're pretending to be your government or postal service. And this isn't some theoretical problem. This started from actual scam instances where messages were being sent through Google or Apple's messaging apps impersonating government officials and services. We're talking fake messages from the Postal Service saying, you have a package, click here and give us your credit card information. And I actually know people who have fallen from that. Except it's not your package. It's not the Postal Service. It's some cyber criminal, either in a big building because those are big businesses or in a basement somewhere laughing maniacally while stealing people's identities. And honestly, not cool, basement guy or big business, not cool at all. Now, Singapore isn't new to this game. They've thrown down the gauntlet before. They've previously threatened Facebook, Meta, and I'm rolling my eyes, which you can't see, but it's happening, with fines if they didn't increase their anti-scam efforts in the country. And you know what? It worked. Facebook, Meta, whatever you want to call them today, got their act together really quickly when Singapore showed them the bill. So when Singapore came knocking on Apple and Google's doors, both companies were like, yes, ma'am, right away, ma'am. How high would you like us to jump? Because both Apple and Google have stated that they intend to comply with the order. And their solution, guess what? They're urging people to update their phones to the most current model. And you know what? That's actually the right answer. Here's the thing about cybersecurity. It's an arms race. Cyber criminals are constantly developing new techniques, new exploits, new ways to trick people and break into systems. And device manufacturers are constantly developing new protections, new security features, and new ways to keep users safe. But here's the catch. Those new security features only work if you're actually using them. And that means keeping your devices updated. Think of it like this. You wouldn't drive a car with 1990s safety features when modern cars have airbags, anti-lock brakes, and collision detection, right? Well, the same principle applies to your phone, your laptop, your tablet. Older devices simply don't have the security architecture to defend against modern threats. But here's what's actually interesting about this story, and this is where it gets into bigger geopolitical tech questions. This situation demonstrates that countries still have significant say in tech usage within their borders. For years, we've heard about how tech companies are too big to regulate, how they're basically digital nations unto themselves, how governments are helpless against the might of big tech. And Singapore just said, watch this, hold my bubble tea. And guess what? It worked, because at the end of the day, Apple and Google want access to those markets. They want to sell their iPhones and their Pixel devices. They want their app stores to be available. And if a country says, not unless you fix this security problem, suddenly that problem becomes a priority. It's kind of refreshing, honestly. It shows that democratic governments can hold tech companies accountable when they have the political will to do so, and it shows that the tech companies are willing to jump in and help wherever they can. All right, let's go ahead and shift gears and talk about everyone's favorite guy who definitely doesn't need another job. That's Jeff Bezos. So he's back as a CEO after stepping down from Amazon's day-to-day operations to focus on space tourism and buying mega yachts, normal billionaire stuff. He's now co-CEO of a new AI startup, and it's called Project Prometheus. Now, for those of you who remember your Greek mythology, Prometheus was the Titan who stole fire from the gods and gave it to humanity. If you didn't know that, congratulations for the knowledge drop. So either Bezos has a flair for the dramatic, which, let's be honest, have you seen his rockets? Or he's signaling that this project is about to give us something revolutionary. Or both. Probably both. Here's what we do know. Not much. And that's intentional. Project Prometheus is shrouded in secrecy like it's the Manhattan Project of AI. But here's what we do know. It has over $6 billion in funding. Let me repeat that. $6 billion. Billion. And reportedly, they already have over 100 staffers already on board. To put that in perspective, most startups launch with like a couple million in seed funding, 3 people in a garage, and a dream. Bezos launched with more money than many countries' GDP and a full workforce. It's like showing up to a Little League game with the New York Yankees. Sure, it's technically still baseball, but you're playing a different game entirely. So what is Project Prometheus actually doing? Well, their LinkedIn profile, because even secretive billionaire AI projects need LinkedIn apparently, says AI for the physical economy. Now, that's deliciously vague. AI for the physical economy could mean a lot of things. Is it robots? Is it smart manufacturing? Is it AI-powered logistics? Or is Bezos building his own Terminator? Here's what makes this particularly interesting, and this is where the timing gets really juicy. Bezos' return comes at a pivotal moment in the AI industry. You see, the biggest AI companies, we're talking Microsoft, Apple, Google, Meta, HP with Copilot, the whole gang, they're about to pour over $4 trillion into AI infrastructure over the next year. That's with a T for that's an incomprehensible amount of money. But here's the thing, most of that investment is focused on digital AI, chatbots, large language models, recommendation algorithms, content generation, all that digital stuff, ones and zeros, cloud computing. Bezos seems to be looking at that massive investment and saying, cool story, but what about the physical world? And that's actually brilliant if you think about it, because while everyone else is racing to build better ChatGPT competitors and smarter virtual assistants, there's this entire physical economy, factories, warehouses, data centers, manufacturing, logistics. All of that could be revolutionized by AI. And who knows more about physical logistics and warehouses than Jeff Bezos, the man who built an empire on getting stuff from point A to point B faster than anyone thought possible, and sometimes with drones. Now, we don't exactly know what Project Prometheus will unveil, but with that kind of funding, that level of secrecy, and Bezos' history of disrupting entire industries, this is absolutely a venture to watch. All right, let's go ahead and bring this home with the Daily Take, where we connect these stories to what actually matters for organizations and, of course, what we're doing in this space along with our OEMs. First, let's talk about the Singapore situation and what it really means for device security and keeping technology current, because this is where our work becomes absolutely critical. At Daily, we partner with OEMs, that's original equipment manufacturers, for those of you who are acronym challenged, to help keep devices current and secure for our customers. And this isn't just about pushing the latest gadgets. This is about ensuring that the devices people rely on every single day have the security features they need to stay protected. Because here's the reality, folks. Cybersecurity threats evolve constantly. What worked last year might not work today. What protects you today might not protect you tomorrow. And that means devices need regular updates, security patches, and yes, sometimes hardware upgrades to keep pace with those emerging threats. Now let's talk about Bezos and Project Prometheus, because this story speaks to something that's core to Daly's identity: constant innovation. You see, at Daily, we're constantly trying to innovate. We're always asking, what's next? Where's technology heading? And how can we position our customers to benefit from it? Bezos is betting on physical AI while everyone else focuses on digital. That's strategic thinking. That's seeing around corners. That's innovation. You see, at Daily, we're doing the same thing in our space. We're not just following trends, we're anticipating them. Whether it's cybersecurity, device management, AI implementation, or emerging technologies, we're always looking at ways to improve and stay ahead of the curve. And that is Daly's Tech in 10 for this week. We talked governments versus big tech. We talked about the importance of keeping devices current and secure. We talked about some mysterious billionaire AI projects. And hopefully we gave you some food for thought about where technology is heading. Now, if you enjoyed this episode, please make sure you subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who knows that keeping their devices updated actually matters. And if you happen to know what Project Prometheus is actually building, feel free to slide into our DMs. We promise to keep it confidential, mostly. That's going to wrap things up for today. I'm Rick from Daily, reminding you to stay secure, stay current, stay innovative, and always, always think twice before clicking on that link from the Postal Service about a package you weren't expecting.